agreed to, and I call the honourable member for Hasluck.
Deputy Speaker, the member for Flynn, like myself, is a member of the class of 2022 in this 47th Parliament. However, unlike me, the member has arrived in this place with some years of political experience, having served in the Queensland Parliament since 2017, which to me begs the question, perhaps it's a side of my own naivety, but why do those opposite insist on giving this government the opportunity after opportunity to speak on the responsible work of our Treasurer and Finance Minister and illustrate what a mess we've inherited? For what reason the member for Flynn has decided to carry this candle for his side remains a mystery to me. Only a few days ago, I had the honour of reminding members in the Federation Chamber of the virtues of the Albanese government's responsible economic management, thanks to a motion from the member for Menzies. Now the member for Flynn has obliged me. This government has been upfront and honest about the fiscal and monetary challenges we've inherited, and we are taking decisive and targeted action. Treasurer Chalmers' budget, delivered in October, begins the task of dealing with inflation, the deliberate low-wage policy of the former government and debt caused by years of lazy and wrong-headed government. I believe that if the member for Cook was still Prime Minister now, busily sharing portfolios with some of those opposite, the same cost-of-living pressures would be present, but not the same will or capacity to act. And this government is acting. We are investing in cheaper early childhood education, giving 1 million families more options, making PBS medicines cheaper to ease costs and keeping people healthier, getting wages moving again, empowering workers to earn more. And as a stark point of difference, this government has prioritised paying down the $1 trillion of Liberal debt. Addressing the cost of living must involve keeping a lid on inflation. Despite the incessant shrieking and scaremongering from those opposite, Treasury modelling has confirmed the Chalmers budget is the responsible way to move forward without exacerbating inflationary pressures. And those pressures are mostly coming from the global environment, as members well know. Government policy must be directed towards softening the blow, flattening the curve and preparing for recovery in the medium and longer term. Addressing the cost of living means taking a hard look at energy policy and doing the right thing. The Coalition is no stranger to developing energy policies. They tried to do quite a few, but you never landed a single one. The true path to long-term sustainable lower energy prices is the rapid transformation to a green energy economy based on renewables, a dependable grid and forms of storage, including batteries. Just today I read about the Norwegian company Equinor investing in offshore wind generation in Australia. Is there anyone in this chamber who seriously believes that we would be attracting the levels of investment and interest that we now see if the Minister for Climate Change and Energy wasn't active in this space, if he hadn't designated offshore zones and introduced legislation to support them, if we hadn't have passed the climate change bills? I note that when the member for Flynn had a chance to support the climate change bills a couple of months ago, he squibbed and he voted against them.
All of them did. All of them.
The member for Flynn has reported as having said that renewable energy is fantasy. Well, he should take action against the newspapers if this is not true, as it seriously makes you look foolish. Another important way to combat the cost of living is to ensure that wages haven't flatlined, especially where they haven't kept pace with either inflation or productivity. We've had 9 years of coalition governments where low wages were a deliberate design feature of their policies. Now the Albanese government has supported wage rises for low-paid workers and has brought legislation in the parliament to get wages moving again. I note that the member for Flynn voted against that legislation last week too. Flynn did rather well, though, out of the first Chalmers budget handed down a month ago. The commitments made for Flynn by the candidate Burnett and the Labor team are all there, funded in the budget. I count 21 across the electorate, from Gladstones to the Highlands, including a long-awaited pool at Boyne-Tunham and upgrades to the Bruce Highway. Deputy Speaker, I'm the member for Hasluck, so I shouldn't have to stand here and tell the people of Flynn how good the Albanese government is to them. But I know that the member for Flynn isn't going to do it. He's just going to sit there, polishing leather, with his climate denier's hat on, and when confronted with a list of commitments as long as your arm and all funded in the budget, says, and I quote from the Courier Mail, email of 27th of October, I wouldn't hold my breath with some of these commitments.
Order.
But
Order. I thank the honourable member for Hasluck. The question is that the motion be agreed to, and I call the honourable member for Mayo.